Hi guys, it's Howard again. Sorry about the voice, I've got a bit of a croaky throat today. Anyhow, look, after reviewing one of my biggest and heaviest cameras last time, the Nikon F, it seems only appropriate to review one of my smallest and lightest, the Olympus 35RC. Released in the early 70s, it's not super light, at about 415 grams, just under 15 ounces. But in the scheme of things, for a 1970 full-frame, fully mechanical metal rangefinder camera, it's about as good as it gets. As you can see, it looks like a bit of a toy at first glance, but don't be deceived. This is an extremely capable and solid little camera produced during the golden era of Olympus rangefinder cameras. The lens is a 5-element in 4 groups 42mm f2.8 Zuiko multi-coated lens and is very sharp. If set on A for automatic, the metering, if it is still working properly, and a lot still are, is very accurate, and with the CDS cell positioned beside the lens, it automatically adjusts for filters. Another useful aspect of this camera is the ISO range of 25 to 800, which is suitable for a wide range of currently available films. Unfortunately, the camera was designed for the dreaded Mercury 1.35 volt battery, but there are of course workarounds for the battery which we've discussed previously, such as the WIN cell, WEIN, or the 1.5 to 1.35 volt adapter. When used in automatic mode, which is shutter speed priority type, simply select the shutter speed and the camera will select the aperture for you. Separate needles will show the aperture selected and the shutter speed in the viewfinder, and a half press of the shutter button will lock the settings to allow you to recompose the scene. If there is insufficient or too much light in the shot, the camera will lock up to save you from wasting film. The viewfinder has a bright frame line with parallax correction marks, shutter speeds across the top and apertures across the bottom with a needle for each. The rangefinder patch is only small but very usable. The camera can also be used in fully manual mode, no battery required. Simply set the shutter and aperture as indicated by your light meter or the good old sunny 16 rule. The shutter speeds are a bit limited on the slow end, starting at 1/15th of a second, but they go to 1/500th. They're sufficient for the vast majority of shots. There is, of course, the mandatory B or bulb setting and a tripod socket on the base if required. There are also a range of guide number settings for auto flash, so it's a fully featured little camera. Okay, let's have a look at this little gem. Now, the first thing I'll do, I'll show it to you, give you an indication of its size in comparison with my good old Minolta Highmatic 9. So as you can see, these cameras are vastly different sizes. And even thickness. I mean, it was quite an achievement. I mean, this was a typical 70s rangefinder camera, the same as size as your Sheikahs and a whole heap of others. And yet, Olympus were able to pull it down to this. And this was a very popular little camera as a result, because it was a lot lighter and a lot smaller. Okay, let's go through some of the features. So looking from the front, it's got a roughly 10-second self-timer on the front. Now, unlike a lot of self-timers that were built into the lens barrels, this is an independent mechanism and very robust and very reliable, so there's no issues about using this at all. It's excellent. Up here we've got the rangefinder window. We've got a window to allow light in to light up the bright frame and the shutter speeds across the top and the apertures across the bottom in the viewfinder. And this obviously is the viewfinder. Now, as we can see, this is the Olympus E Zuiko 42mm lens, which was a favourite focal length of Mr. Maintani, although his name isn't particularly associated with this camera, but I think the 42mm probably is. We've got over here we've got the little CDS cell for the metering, and over here we've got the window for the ISO or ASA, whichever you prefer to call it. Now the way that you change the ISO, this rim here is slightly elevated, so you put, and slightly serrated, so put your fingers on there and just simply turn it and bring up whatever ASA or ISO speed you want in the window, anywhere from 25 to 800, which was pretty good back at the time of this. Now, looking at it here, we've got the main selection ring on the back, so we've got a little red mark there. We've got the flash symbol there, and that can be used in conjunction with these guide numbers around the side here. Little tab moves between them, and depending on the flash and the guide number suggested, you can choose in there. If we come back from flash, we've got A for automatic, and as it says, you select the shutter speed, the camera selects the aperture for you. We've got an off position to save battery when you're not using the camera, and then you've got your manual selection of apertures around here if you use it in manual mode. So then we've got the focusing in feet and meters, which is very short throw, as you can see, but very smooth and works beautifully. So that's got covered most of that. I'd normally do this ring in this position, but it's very hard to get at from the back, so I've done it from the front today. On the top, we've got the very standard rewind handle for to rewind the film. Now this doesn't lift up to open the back or anything. There's a separate tab for that. We've got a hot shoe for the flash. Shutter speeds here, as I said before, we've got B for bulb, 15th, all the way around to a 500th, 250th, 500th, and that can just simply keep rotating. You don't have to go back and forwards. It's happy to rotate all the way around. We've got a threaded shutter button here for a cable release, and over here we've got the frame counter, which resets automatically when you open the back of the camera. Okay, on the back we've got the film advance and the viewfinder window. Down on the bottom here we've got the little tab to open the back, and inside here it's all very standard. There's a cutout so you can slip because that doesn't push up, you can slip the film in from below, drag it across. You've got about 6 slots on the take-up spool with little teeth to locate it. You've got the cogs here to lock into the film sprockets, the holes. So you wind it forward a couple of times, make sure it's all taking up properly, and then just shut the back. On the bottom, we've got the rewind release. So when you're rewinding the film, just press that in, and then you can rewind it. When you wind forward again, it will automatically pop out. We've got the battery cover here for the 1.35 volt or the adapter or the wind cell, whichever you choose to use, and the tripod mount there. And there's the bottom of the little tab to open the back. Right, so that's pretty much covered. There's a couple of strap lugs on the side. Have we missed anything? I don't think we have. Nope, no, we got the lot. Okay. Now, unfortunately, the public have latched onto these little cameras recently, and as a result, they're commanding top prices. Here in Australia, I was looking up some prices. You can very easily pay $350 for a really good, fully working one. I saw one described as pristine for $495. Now, these are high prices. I imagine the US going to be a little bit less than that, but probably not a lot. But this is a great little camera. I can't overemphasize that. So if you want a small, compact, fully functioning, well, fully featured, I should say, and something that's relatively small to carry around, I can recommend these. Even at those prices, I would try to get the best possible one you can afford, ideally with metering and everything working. If the metering isn't working, as I say, you're going to be able to get one quite a bit cheaper and use a manual light meter. But they're great little cameras. Well, look, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. And if you want to if you feel you want to leave a comment, go ahead and do that. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.